Hi, rodafleming here in the Philippines. I hope you're doing well. I was going to do something else today, but instead I'm doing this. I saw something on social media, as you do, today, which I found remarkable. I have to say that the NPC SJWs are really having a party just now, and that's obviously something to do with the forthcoming mid-term elections in the United States. Everybody's trying to get lots and lots of noise, and the most stupid things possible are coming out. Well, this one, yesterday we had the famous Trump memo, which if you read it, it's just nothing. It's nothing, and it's a storm in a latte cup, yet another one. But today it's even better, because the SJW NPCs are up in the air because some wag has released a Halloween costume which is a Bruce Jenner suit. And, you know, it's absolutely hilarious that you would go to these lengths because somebody made a joke. It's absolutely redolent of the NPC SJW Left. They have no sense of humour. To be honest with you, I've never met a leftist who did have a sense of humour. You can't really have a sense of humour and also be politically correct. These seem to me to be mutually incompatible. If you're going to have a sense of humour, you've got to be prepared to take the piss. And taking the piss means taking the piss out of public figures. It has been thus ever since the days of Greek theatre. Right the way through the Commedia dell'arte, right the way through satire and everything else, Shakespeare, the lot. People, humorists, take the mickey out of famous people. And Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner, is a very famous person who managed to make himself a complete laughingstock by turning himself into a pseudo-woman. Bruce Caitlyn Jenner, as we all know, is not a woman. He's not even a transsexual. He's a transvestite who has a fetish for appearing to be a woman, but for reasons that I guess only he knows, he managed to let his delusion go complete full beast mode, and there you go. Maybe he thought he'd make a lot of money out of a failing career doing it, and I probably was right. But people like that are legitimate targets for humour. And so when the NPC SJW Left gets up on its hind legs and starts howling for blood because someone had the temerity to suggest that, you know, maybe there's some humour in this, maybe we could consider it a little bit amusing that someone who had been an obviously masculine male man, an Olympic athlete at that, with a body like, you know, a brick outhouse, should at the age of 65 suddenly turn into a woman, that, you know, we might actually find that a little bit amusing. For them to then turn that into a great big shouting match. It's kind of like the people, you know, when the Danish newspaper, Danish I believe it was, who published the cartoons of Muhammad, and all the Muslims went completely insane. Well, that's what you're seeing from the NPC SJW Left now. The slightest challenge to the orthodoxy that they would impose on all of us, it's just, you know, it's met with this outrageous level of overreaction. You know, it's a joke. You can make jokes about people all the time. It's quite all right to make jokes. People make jokes about Donald Trump, and I don't see Republicans going around threatening death, disorder and simians. But no, make a joke about one of the icons of the SJW NPC Left and the shit hits the fan. Well, I think we should all just go out and buy one of these costumes and wear it on the 31st. Just to annoy the bastards. Because some of us are absolutely sick fed up listening to them. Now, I don't claim any credit for this, but I have been arguing for genuinely transsexual women, trans women and trans men, but mainly trans women, to get their proper acceptance in society for 15 years now. I've written books about it, I've maintained blogs about it, I've written articles about it, I've spoken, you know, publicly about it. And yet we are now hearing the squeals and howls of stuck pig NPC SJWs who are not even transsexual. Bruce Jenner is not transsexual. He's an autogynephilic transvestite. He has a fetishistic delusion that makes him attracted to himself as a woman, and he's allowed it to get out of control. That's all it is. He's a bloke. And all the people like him, they're blokes too. And all the so-called non-homosexual trans men, you know what they are? They're women who've taken their feminism too far, and they've started taking steroids. That's all this is about. There's only one group of people who are genuinely transsexual, and they're characterised by two things. The first is they are same-sex attracted from childhood and cross-sex identified from childhood. Okay? That's the two things. And these people will typically suffer a thing called gender dysphoria, particularly childhood gender dysphoria, as they grow up. And this shows you that they are actually transsexual. But they are same-sex attracted, cross-sex identified. That's what you need to be transsexual. The rest of them, they're just playing at it. You know, for Bruce Jenner, and I get plenty of mail from people who have autogynephilia, and for some of them, it's a horrible, depressing, debilitating disorder that can lead to suicidality. It can, and I'm sure it does lead to completed suicides. Men fight it all their lives long. And it can reduce their lives to misery. It's something that we really need to be sympathetic of and try to support them. But supporting them does not mean pandering to a delusion. And when somebody comes along and says, you know, it's a pretty good laugh that you get a 65-year-old sports jock suddenly decides he's a woman, well, it is a pretty bloody good laugh. And it is deserving of mockery and humour. It is deserving of satire. Of course it is. You know, anybody who thinks that a man of 50, 40, 45 who's been living as a man, 20, 30 years, can suddenly, just like that, turn into a woman. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. Genuine transsexuals, they're apparent in childhood. And they've transitioned by the time they're 18, most of them. But 23 is regarded as the upper limit. They don't come along at 65 and suddenly say, you know what, guys, am I really a woman? And if you do things like that, yeah, you absolutely deserve to have the mickey taken out of you. Or at least you have no recourse. You know, if people do. Because that's humour, that's satire, that's what we do. Well, you know, Bruce Jenner is one of a really, really, really wealthy man. He's got more money than he can shake a stick at. He's got privilege in spades, buckets of it. So, you know, how is taking the mickey out of him any different from taking the mickey out of Richard Branson or Donald Trump? There's no difference, it's just satire. That's all it is. So get the fuck over it. Grow up. I try hard not to comment too deeply on the political situations in places where I don't have a vote, but basically as a citizen of planet Earth today, everybody has an interest in how the United States votes. And my goodness, when I see how the NPC SJW Left has behaved, how it behaved over Kavanaugh, how it behaved over Me Too, how it's behaving over a completely anodyne memo that says, by the way, sex is what you were told in school it was. It's what's between your legs when you were born. And, oh my God, you know, the world is going to fall in. The sky is going to collapse because somebody's making a Halloween suit of Bruce Jenner. When I see that, I have to say, I hope to hell that the American electorate gets a life, grows a brain and says, ha, these guys are shut out for good. I really do. It's enough. It's gone past the joke. I don't like to make these comments. I like to be specific and keep myself within the areas of my expertise. But really, I think that, you know, we've had enough. We've listened to the NPC SJWs long enough, and they're screaming and they're incoherent ranting about a load of postmodernist, cultural Marxist bullshit. It's all it is. So enough. Anyway, why don't you all go out and buy one of these costumes and stick it to the bastards? Take care, see you next time.